that you can use that money the best way that money can work for you, so we can learn to work smarter and not harder, especially when we receive large lump sums of cash. All right, so first thing, before we get started, we had a great tragedy today with the loss of Kobe Bryant along with his daughter. So definitely want to dedicate this show to him and to the legacy that he left behind. He was a great basketball player who was able to not only play basketball but generate more streams of income, not just for the money of it, but for the legacy that he's now has left to his family, to his wife, to his children, and instilling values in his children that will live on. So not only is his family going to be able to carry his legacy, even us as a community, especially in the Black community, we can learn from people like him, as well as, God rest his soul, Nipsey Hussle, who bought back the block, employed people, and made his investments turn over and receive income off of that. So first thing, when you talk about money, budgeting, it's very, very hard to save money, to spend money, and you don't have a budget. When you don't have a budget, we start spending money and just throwing money out, and before you know it, you once you break $100 bill, that's it, it's gone. So the first thing you need to do before you receive money is set a budget. What are your bills that are always reoccurring? I put a lot of my things on auto pay, so that I don't have to think about it, it comes out. So you want to, whether you do it in a spreadsheet, whether you do it, I do mine by hand. Some people like to use technology. So you want to establish a budget. What are the bills that I need to pay? And then what money am I putting aside for things like gas, groceries, and stick to the budget. So just because you make a budget, you also have to be dedicated and stick to it. So you want to put all your big bills in a category that are reoccurring, and it's a good idea to make sure that you are dedicated to it. It's a good idea to auto pay things that you know are always going to come out: car insurance, health insurance. If you have a car note, if you're paying rent, your mortgage, if you put it on auto pay, that'll help. And if you have on paper, this is what I need, then that's exactly what will help you be proactive versus being reactive. Also, for people who are looking into buying homes, right now, if you get a tax refund, a good idea is to put away money for your down payment. So if you know what price range you're looking to buy a home, you want to calculate what your down payment. For most people, depending on what kind of loan you're going to get, if it's a conventional loan, you want to put away about 20%. If it's not, you want to do like 3.5%, so that you'll have that money. And when you get to that step of your home buying process, you already have that money. And by the way, guys, my background's a little bit different today because I'm in Atlanta, so I'm headed to the airport. So if there are any band heads up here, we went to the Battle of the Bands in Atlanta yesterday. Hampton showed out. A shout out to all HBCUs, all bands, but I'm on my way to the airport, but I could not do the live, especially with all that is going on. So you also want to budget. We're talking about buying homes. You also want to put away some money, even if it's not for the entire thing. You want to make sure you have a dollar figure, and it's a good idea to talk to a financial coach or consultant as well. And if you want some names, I can definitely email them to you if you inbox me. But you want to put away money for furniture. You want to definitely get a dollar amount. I think I'm going to need about this. So you have to do some research. If this is what I want, how much do I need to put away? And for people buying homes, you don't have to furnish the whole house. We're all on budgets, no matter how big or small it is. You don't have to furnish your whole house as soon as you move in. Probably your main rooms, like the bedrooms, of course, you want to have beds and things like that, your living room and your kitchen. Anything else, you may be able to do one piece at a time, or find a way that you can just use what you need at first, and then you can build on that. As well as budget for utilities. Make sure you ask or check to see what are my utilities going to run, so you can start putting away money for that as well. Because you don't want to be house poor, where you can pay your mortgage and then everything after that you got to try to figure out. You want to put yourself in a good position where you buying a house, you also have money left over where you can make it the rest of the month, and you don't have to start eating, for all people who went to college, or if you just eat noodles, or you have to warm up hot dogs out of necessity, not because you want to. Another thing, you want to definitely talk to a financial advisor, financial consultant, financial coach, a mortgage originator, a loan officer. because they sometimes offer free consultations where they can help you out and try to figure out, okay, I have this amount of money. What's the best way for me to budget this money? What's the best way should I invest this money? What do you talk to a mortgage lender? You want to say, okay, what bills should I pay off or pay down? Because there are some bills where you may not have to pay it off right away, and there are other things they'll tell you, okay, you need to get this paid off to put you in the best position. And again, a lot of them offer free consultations, and a lot of people are very, very affordable, because managing your money correctly is very, very important, especially when you want to buy a home. Another thing, you definitely want to pay your credit cards down. So while you have this large amount of money, whether it be $10,000, $20,000, $5,000, $2,000, you want to make sure that you pay down your credit cards. You don't want your credit card usage to be above 30%. And that's for if you're trying to qualify for a home loan. That's also in general. You want to look like, and you want to, in reality, know that you're not living above your means. You're not maxing out everything, and you're making your payments on time. So you want to pay your credit card usage down to at least under 30%, or you can pay it down lower than that. But you also want to make sure that you're making those payments on time. So any other bills outside of your credit cards, you want to go ahead and catch up on anything that's past due, so that you build that responsibility, and that can also help increase your credit score. When you increase your credit card usage, all that goes into your credit score. All right. On your mortgage or any other loans that you have, it's also a good idea, once you pay your regular payment, you also want to pay more on the principal. Make sure when you call them, you tell them you want to put down another $1,000, another $500, another $20, whatever it is, on the principal. When you bring down your principal, you cut down the life of your loan. So making those additional payments on the principal are going to bring down how much you owe, and you can turn, okay, I'm going to be paying on this for 15 years. Well, maybe now you only have to pay another 8 years, or maybe now you only have to pay another 3 years. And the quicker you pay it off, the less interest in the long run, and the less money you end up paying in the long run. So it's a good idea. The less money you have to pay people back, that's also more money you get to keep in your pockets, in your bank account. You also want to put away money in a bank account. A good idea is to put away money in a bank account that you're not easily able to get to. So put it in a bank account, maybe open a new account. Don't get a debit card with it. Don't get an ATM card with it. Don't get checks to go with that account. Put that money in the account, and if you're not disciplined enough, or you haven't built up your discipline to the point where you won't go like, oh, I got $2,000 over here, I got an extra $500 in this account, let me go get that real quick so I can get these shoes. No, don't go get the shoes. Leave the money alone, or either put it in a bank that's not near where you live. So let's say you live in Hampton. Maybe you open up an account at a bank that's not located in Hampton. Maybe that bank is located in Williamsburg, or that bank is in Norfolk, so it's not easy for you to get to it. So that money can just sit there for when you actually do need it, not for something that you want. You also, some other ideas for using money, especially when you have a lump sum, get an income property. So a lot of times you can go to auctions, you can go to like the tax auctions, where you can buy properties for much, and they may need a little bit of work done to them, or they may not. Sometimes people, unfortunately, may have not paid their taxes on them, or someone's died and nobody's keeping up the house, they're not keeping up the taxes. So what they do is go to auction or any other place where you can buy houses from. You go there, you can buy a house and rent it out. So that will bring in continuous income for you monthly, because you'll have someone in a property that you own, and they'll be paying rent, which will help not only cover whatever note may be on that house, or if you pay it off, that also can pay off, and you can invest in other business ventures that you may have, whether that be in the city that you live in. That may be the best course of action, because you're easily accessible. A lot of people invest or put their properties on Airbnb. Another place, if you live near a college city or a college town, like let's say you live in Norfolk or Williamsburg, or anywhere where there's a college, you can rent out rooms in your house to several students. So you find a 2 or 3 bedroom house, or 4 bedroom house, that's four monthly rents that you can now collect from people, just because you decided to put your money into buying a home. Now, let's say you don't have enough to necessarily do that. If you already own a home, you can rent out a space in your home, and you want to do that safely. Also, if you have space over your garage, you can turn that into an apartment where you can rent that out, as well as vacation property. So if you live near the beach, all of those are where there are a lot of events that happen where people can rent out rooms, or while you're away, like Airbnb. All that can generate income, where you're using real estate, you're using property to generate income for you for what you may have. And you don't always necessarily have to do that by yourself. So you can get with other investors or other people that you know. So let's say you get a tax return, your friend gets a tax return, someone else gets a tax return, someone with good character and that is serious about it. You guys can pool your money together. And of course, when you pool your money together, you also have to split that income that comes in. So that's an agreement that you can have as well. Another option is flipping. So flipping involves buying a home, fixing it up, and then selling it, and you do it pretty quickly. So you can buy a home, fix it up, and then sell it for a profit. You can invest in stocks. If you're not familiar with investing in stocks, you definitely want to talk to a professional. For beginners, some apps that may help are Acorn. They round up whatever you spend and they invest it for you, and you don't necessarily need a lot of money to start that. You can literally use change to start it. So the apps Acorn, Robinhood, Stash, Stockpile, all those are apps where for beginners you can use those apps to invest, find good places to invest that may not necessarily cost you a whole fortune in the very beginning. But again, you definitely want to talk to a professional as well to see where it's best to invest your money. And stocks can be very risky, but they can also be very lucrative. If that's not anything that interests you, can also invest in creating an additional stream of income. So for some people, if you want to get your cosmetology license or any other license that will allow you to perform a service for people where they would pay you, that can generate income in your free time away from your 9 to 5, or if you're just doing it as your main source of income, you can start an online-based business. So you can use the money you have to fund all the costs that go along with that. So if you want to sell clothes and jewelry, anything like that, you don't necessarily have to have a brick and mortar store. You can be based online and do just as well as anyone else. And there are a lot of online platforms that allow you to do that. Big Cartel, Shopify, and there are others out there that allow you to sell your clothing or whatever product you sell. Etsy, you can do that online and generate income without putting a whole, $100,000, $200,000 into it. Also, party equipment. People love to rent bounce houses, snow cone machines, cotton candy machines. So you do a couple parties, you've already got your return on investment there. So everything else outside of maintenance is just your property, your profit coming in. Catering services, if you like to cook, food delivery. A lot of people do things like Uber Eats or Grubhub delivery, where again, it's not a lot of money you have to initially start, but it is a way for you to generate income that you would normally get. Sell things around your home that you don't use anymore. So if that sewing machine or that gadget that you have has just been sitting there and you don't really do anything with it, sell it. Bring the profit in, and don't just go buy shoes with it. Use that money to work for you. You can freelance. So some people, you find someone else that owns a business. Okay, I'll manage your social media for this amount per week or per month. The most important thing you want to do to make your money work for you is you want to be serious about it. So you want to be intentional about it. So paying off loans, saving money, investing and getting a return on that investment is not done mistakenly. You have to be intentional. You have to stick to a budget. You have to write out your plan, put it on paper, and actually take those steps that you put down. So it requires research, and it's going to take some time, sometimes a bit quicker. But the thing about it is, when you receive those lump sums, you have to have a plan of what you're going to do, because if not, it just will literally disappear before you know it, and you're like, I just had X amount and now I don't have anything. And for everyone, again, we talked about Kobe Bryant before, he invested, I think, like $6 million in body armor, and it ended up being sold to Coca-Cola and turned into over $200 million. So this is a basketball player we're talking about. So what other things are similar to the sphere that you work in that you can invest in, or you can now say, okay, I have this amount of money. If I buy a popcorn machine, I can start providing this service for people when they have parties. I love to decorate. You can monetize that. So now it's not just a hobby, or it's not something that you like to do. You now have the money to help startup funds for your business. And also, your money working for you is a journey, and it is something that you have to stick to, and something that is going to require you to not just think that it's just going to happen one day, but it's something that you actually have to be serious about, and that you definitely want to be intentional about. So when you find your plan, when you get your plan, definitely stick to it. Consult with a financial consultant, and then just have the determination to know, I don't necessarily want to stay in this place. Next year, I want to have X amount in the bank. So you want to write that out as detailed as you can. I have this amount of money now. I want to have, in 3 months, I want to turn this into X amount. And I'm going to do that by doing X, Y, and Z. So set small goals that'll help build you up to your larger goals, especially when buying a home. If you talk to a mortgage loan consultant or someone like that, they will definitely be able to give you tips on, okay, pay this down, pay this off, catch this bill up. And when you have that money that you can say, okay, I can do that now, do it, but don't go back and max out your card. Do it and then stick to it, and stick to those monthly payments. That's everything that I have for tonight. So the biggest thing is just remember, be intentional, stick to it. I know we're human, we make mistakes sometimes, but even if you fall off track, don't think you're too far gone. You can always come back, start over, and get back on track. It's nothing that you can't do. You can make it happen. You can make it work. You can put yourself and your family in a position where you're passing out properties, you're passing out businesses to the people that are going to come after you. So definitely think about the people that have come before you that have done those things, and then you got to put in the work to make it happen for you. Anybody have any questions or anything like that? My email is up here, my phone number is up here, and I'll see you guys next Sunday if I do not talk to you again in between. All right, thanks guys for tuning in.